A senior BJP leader told me that the real problem is many Congress leaders, he didn't mention you specifically, have not come to terms with the fact that Narendra Modi is a two-time Prime Minister. That is fundamentally the problem. He isn't seen by your leadership as someone, therefore, who deserves to be in that post, and in some way, therefore, there is this boycott almost of Prime Minister Modi.
Completely wrong. Wherever I've written referring to the Prime Minister, I refer to him as Honorable Prime Minister. Wherever Mrs. Gandhi is met with in a Parliament's Central Hall function or any function, she has been extremely deferential and greets him. Congress President has been in conversation with him. We have seen videos. We accept the fact that Mr. Narendra Modi is the elected Prime Minister of India. Nobody questions his legitimacy. What we are questioning is his actions, his decisions, like the recent Tughlaqian decision of introducing a 2,000 rupee note and withdrawing a 2,000 rupee note. On the day it was introduced, I said, this is a foolish decision. The withdrawal is a good decision, but a good decision that corrected a foolish decision.
Mr. Chidambaram, the reason again this is asked for, if you were in Mr. Modi's position, if you were advising him, what would you tell him? How would you repair this divide? It is a gaping divide. It's a friction point which you say is only going to get worse. What, therefore, would you advise him?
Well, the first caution I'll tell myself is your advice will not be accepted. One. And nevertheless, if you want me to advise, I'll say, listen. Governments are elected. Governments are also unelected. Everybody who's occupied that chair will have to vacate that chair. Maybe 5 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. I wish him well. So you must always remember that these are temporary seats of power, which is why I believe in limiting the term of chief executives, like the US president. Is there any job in this world more complex, more difficult than the President of the United States? Why did they impose a two-term limit? Because I think it's important to impress upon every elected leader, listen, you are elected, no doubt, you are legitimate, but one day you'll have to vacate the seat. So I would tell him, Honorable Prime Minister, let's proceed on the basis that one day this seat will be vacated by you and somebody else will occupy the seat. And keep that in mind before you take a decision.
So you're saying 10 years, maximum term, two-term Prime Minister.
I'm not imposing a term.
But you're suggesting a term.
All I'm saying is limiting the terms is good for the state and the center.
Let me come, sir, to another dimension of this problem, which is perhaps going to become more and more important in the years ahead, and particularly because we are here in deep south, or up south as we are calling it, will become more critical, which is delimitation. In 2026, there is a belief that the number of parliamentary seats from the most populous north states will increase, and the south could either suffer a loss of seats or their numbers will certainly not increase in the same proportion. How worried are you about what delimitation could do to already the fraught relationship between center and the southern states in particular?
See, my party has not yet taken a view. Therefore, you have to take my words with a large dose of caution. This is not necessarily my party view. I'm concerned because either the states which have reached a replacement rate of population growth or even less. For example, many southern states have reached 1.6. The replacement rate is 2.1. They will suffer either by a loss of seats or by their seats being frozen. Whichever way, relatively, as a relation to each other, relatively, the northern states, the states where the population is growing at more than 2.1% will gain. This, I think, could become a cause for friction. How it will be resolved, I have not thought through it. I'm thinking about it. I have not thought through it because I think the unalterable principle which is in the Constitution is one person, one vote. Now, therefore, one has to think through. And I think it's good if all the political parties sit down and calmly think it through. I don't want a situation where nobody thinks it through and then 2026 dawns on you and then the thing gathers its own momentum. That will lead to serious issues. I think all political parties should start thinking about it even now, what we should do in 2026.
What you're saying is whatever decision is taken must be by consensus, not unilateral.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is far too sensitive an issue for a government with a majority in the Lok Sabha to take a decision.